Question: how do you become a witness for Christ? Well, the answer is you are becoming who you will be. Let me explain. This year I celebrate 25 years as an overseas transcultural missionary here in Rio de Janeiro. And a supporting church asked me 3 questions that are related to my call as a missionary. How did you become a missionary? I enjoyed the process of thinking that through so much and found my responses to be so relevant to the gospel and to the mission of the local church, especially in light of our study of Revelation and our call to be a witness of Christ and to His Word, that I decided to share my responses with you. And I hope you are encouraged by my story to be a witness. The first question: how did your mission journey begin? And like I said, you are becoming who you will be. My missionary journey began long before I was a missionary. I was fortunate enough to hear gospel-centered preaching ever since I was a preteen. Here you can see the little red arrow there. That's me at 14 years old at a youth retreat, local church youth retreat in the Pocono Mountains with the Fellowship Evangelical Free Church in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. So hearing the gospel impacted me to respond to the gospel message by receiving Christ as Lord and Savior. And being reconciled to God through Christ, I sensed the call to have a ministry of reconciliation. And I became what we call an ambassador of Christ, His witness, sharing the message of peace between man and God with my friends, even in high school. 2 of my neighborhood buddies gave their lives to Jesus as a result of the friendship, the relationship we built hanging out in our home. It was a Christian home, and hearing the gospel taught and preached in youth group, at outreach events, and by me telling them and showing them the gospel in the Bible. Well, today, one of them, Peter, is a pastor. Now, here we are back at gymnastics camp, and the other, Andy, has served on the elder board of his church for many years. This is a picture that Andy gave me 10 years after I had last seen him. And he said this: I named my youngest son Craig after you. And telling me then that his life and all the blessings of Christ that he has experienced throughout his life up to that point began as a result of a relationship with me back in high school. We are becoming what we will be a witness for Christ. Second question: how did God prepare or call you to the mission field? Well, God prepared me for international mission through hearing and studying His Word. That's what we do here at the Union Church of Rio. We are Bible-based, and through a deep relationship with His body, the church. As I continue to share my faith and make disciples of Jesus throughout high school and college, I gained a strong sense of pastoral call on my life. You know, after college, I was at a crossroads concerning which career path I should follow. Would it be seminary or would it be psychology? So I took several weeks to ride a bicycle across the country to think and pray. And it was during this trip that the Lord confirmed my pastoral call. Now, the first day of the trip, I was talking to 2 young men my age who would become my friends on the trip. Now, thinking they were believers, I asked them to pray for me because I was at a crossroads and I needed to make a decision. I needed direction from the Lord. Now, the one looked at the other and said, I didn't come here for any religious reasons, did you? And the other responded, no way. Well, 40 days later, as we dipped our bike tires in the Atlantic Ocean, after riding close to 5,000 kilometers, 3,500 miles west to east, one of my new friends, Ken, had confessed Jesus as Lord, and the other, Rich, said, I haven't given my life to Jesus yet, but I don't have an excuse. I sure do know what a true Christian looks like. You know, we are becoming what we will be. Be a witness for Christ. Here is actually a picture of Rich and Kenny. Kenny on the left and Rick on in the center there on that bicycle trip back in 1986. Well, I did accept a call as youth pastor in Western Connecticut and also studied at a theological seminary. And during this time, I ministered to Cambodian refugees in the city of Bridgeport, participated in short-term missions trips, and eventually graduated from seminary. And it was on a trip that I led to England when I received what I call my irresistible call to a career path in missions. I initially turned down the opportunity because I was awarded an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii, the same dates as the mission trip. And as a surfer, I was not going to miss that. But inexplicably, God gave me such a desire deep inside my soul to lead that trip to a town in England I neither wanted to visit or even had heard about. Well, I didn't resist, but I turned down the trip to Hawaii and I agreed to lead the team to England first. The Lord blessed us in England with Hawaii-like weather, 80 degrees and sunny. And it was the bluest skies as we were in London. In fact, it was called the Drought of 1996. 2 weeks without rain. This constitutes a drought in London. Well, this made such a big impact on the locals. Second, the local pastor there who invited us, he said he had never seen such spiritual fruit as we shared the gospel in the community and in the public schools, and asked me if I had ever considered a call to missions. Now, one of the community teens, Andrew, responded to Christ, and after we shared the gospel with 30-some kids from the neighborhood where we had been playing soccer all week, he said these words, "We knew you came with a purpose, and now we know what it is." I still speak with Andrew today. A third significant thing happened on that trip. A member of the team that I led told me, "Craig, this is what you were born to do." And I don't know if you remember the Christian Olympian Eric Liddell, who said, "The Lord has made me fast, and when I run, I feel His pleasure." All week long while shepherding the team and sharing the gospel, I felt inside something that did not come from me, but a joy that comes from the Lord. I felt His very pleasure on my life. Having finished seminary and after being ordained, I accepted a call to join a church planting team in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with the Evangelical Free Church International Mission, which today is known as Reach Global. Reminiscing back on that period, here's a picture as a youth pastor at a camp called La Vida, the Life, high adventure camping with the church where I was youth pastor and the kids. And then we see my graduation back in 1999. That's my mom with me. And proudly to say the first one in our family, not the last, but to get a master's degree. And here are some pictures of that trip to England back in 1996 with the Fellowship Evangelical Free Church. Well, the third and final question that they asked me was, where has your calling taken you? My call as a missionary has taken me to Mexico, Guatemala, Peru, Panama, Costa Rica, France, and Brazil. You know, as a city team leader, I travel internationally to visit colleagues serving in and throughout Latin America to build lasting relationships, collaboration, and various skills, competencies. And this year, as I said, marks 25 years that I've been serving on the field in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with Reach Global. And as the gospel has grown in Rio, our team objectives and strategies have pivoted to remain relevant. And we have reached out to many urban tribes, from surfers to entrepreneurs, and from powerful drug lords to the most vulnerable of children. from Portuguese speakers to those who can't speak Portuguese but speak English as a first, second, or even a third language, and from all nations. I have planted churches, revitalized churches, and trained church leaders. I came as a single missionary and now have my own little tribe, married to Alessandra, and together raising Alicia, who now is a preteen. And today I am, most of you know, the city team leader in Rio and senior pastor of the Union Church of Rio de Janeiro. And our main ministry focus is international church and Christian school. But the glue that has held my ministry together is Christ, His Word, and His commission to go, be a witness, and make disciples of all nations. From Matthew 28, we see, let's go, making disciples of Jesus Christ, giving all an opportunity to know, worship, and follow Jesus together with us, and so to become like Him. And the thread that ties our team together, and hopefully our church together, is Acts Chapter 1, verse 8, living in the power of God's Spirit to be Christ's witnesses in a changed and ever-changing world, here, there, and everywhere along the way. For all that call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. Remember, you are becoming who you will be. Obviously, I couldn't mention all the believers who have impacted my life throughout the local church in each decade of my life, and certainly those who have helped me become the man I am today and helped me to recognize my call to mission, and for whom I am very thankful. But I would also want to thank all of you for being part of my missionary story, especially those who are back at a supporting church in America, or those of you here in the Union Church, serving together, being witnesses for Christ to the ends of the earth. Remember, you are becoming who you will be. Do not be deceived. A person reaps what he sows. So let us sow together, church, gospel seeds, and let us not become weary, for we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And I would like to invite you to join me Sunday morning at 10 a.m. here at our Baja campus for our UC worship service as we continue in our Revelation preaching series, Blessed. Maybe you're hearing this message and you're thinking, wow, Baja is very far from me. You know, you can join us live on YouTube. Just type in the words Union Church Rio and look for us on YouTube, and you will see our link for our live service at 10 a.m. every Sunday morning. Stay well, church. Stay connected in a changed and ever-changing world.